Hello, Algebra 1. You should have this foldable, but some of you were absent on Thursday, and so you didn't get the foldable. That would be Willem and Tatum, and seemed like there was another Jack. So you don't have this. You're going to either need to print it from the PDF on Google Classroom, or you're going to have to just copy it or take some notes on it. So, okay, so we're going to learn how to multiply polynomials. So we're going to look at this first example. And what you're going to do is you're going to do x times everything and 2 times everything. So this is not a monomial times a trinomial now. It's a binomial times a trinomial. So it says each term of the first polynomial, it gets distributed to each term of the second polynomial. So let's just go through this process. So x times 2x squared is going to be 2x to the third, because we're multiplying it by x. That's a power of 1. We're going to bump that up 1. So let's go ahead and do all the x's. So x times a negative x is going to be a negative x squared. And then we're going to do x times 3, which is 3x. It's a positive 3x. And then now we're going to do the 2 times everything, which that's more like what we've done before. 2 times is 4x squared, negative 2x, and 2 times 3 is plus 6. Now make sure you put these signs between them because they're critical. It's a polynomial. I forgot one of them right here. So you want to be sure and do that. You got to keep a sign in front of all your polynomials. Okay, and it'll be easier to do without these little boxes. So we're going to combine like terms now. I'm going to underline. There's only one of these, so I'm just going to write that down. There are 2x squareds. So one of them's negative 1 and one's a plus 4, so that'll be a positive 3x squared. Then I have 2 of these. So 3 minus 2 is just a 1x. And then just the 6 is all by itself, so we'll say plus 6. And that's how you do this. So now this lesson is critical that you work through the examples. Because you don't want to just start the homework, because that's not going to be enough practice. The homework is minimal. It's not enough to get it down, okay? So inside this foldable is where it's at. Okay, so we're going to work the first few, and then we're going to let you work the next ones, and then you can check them. So we're going to FOIL, or actually FOIL, but we call it FOIL when you do a binomial times a binomial, because that's the most common way we do it. But it's exactly what we just said. We're going to do x times everything, and then the second term times both of them. So this is easy to remember with FOIL because you're going to do the first terms first. So x times x is x squared. Then you're going to do the outside terms, which is these two. The outside terms, which is going to give you a 2x. And then you're going to do the inside terms. See, FOIL, first, outside, inside, last. So your first is going to be 1x. And then your last is 2 plus 2. So the FOIL helps you on the binomial because that's the most common one. But basically, it's still the same idea. You do the first terms times both of them and the second term times both of them. Now, we're not done. We have to combine like terms. So we have x squared plus 3x plus 2. So that's how that works. Let's do another one. Next one has a negative in it. So with a negative, we'll have to kind of just watch our signs more carefully. So we're going to do our first term, which is x times x, which is x squared. We're going to do our outside term, which is x times 6, which is plus 2x. It's a positive 2x. We're going to do the inside term, which is a negative 4x. And then we're going to do the last term, which is negative 24. Negative 4 times negative negative 4 times positive 6. Now, you're always going to have, when you're doing a binomial times a trinomial, or binomial times a binomial, you'll have this middle term thing here. So we have to combine like terms on that. So 6x minus 4x is 2x, and so there you go. Now, let me just say the future holds us going from here back to this, okay? So just as you're learning these steps, you have to think, okay, how would I reverse those steps? Because that's really where we're headed. Okay, so I want you to try the next one. I'm going to push pause. You need to push pause. I want you to work the next one, and then we'll go over it. Okay, so you should get x squared plus 8x minus 2x plus minus 16. And then when you combine like terms, you should get a positive 6x minus 16. Okay, so you do your first term, your outside term, and your inside term, and your last. I think mine's a little out of order. Okay, so I need you to work through the rest of these. We might pick up one of these with a negative and a negative down here. We'll do this one right here. And then, but I want you to do those other ones and check them. So you're going to do the first term. So it's x times x is x squared. You're going to do the outside term. That's this one. So x times negative 1 is negative x. You're going to do the inside term, which is negative 6x. And then you're going to do the last term, which is negative 6 times negative 1, which is a positive 6. So carry your signs, make sure you keep up with those. Combining like terms right here, we have x squared minus 7x plus 6. Okay, so push pause and do the other ones, and I'm going to quickly run through them after you push play. Okay, so you should have pushed pause, and you should now unpush pause. And here you should have x squared. That's a negative 7x. I need to do my outside first. I need to work on habits I picked up. So outside is negative 3x. Inside is negative 7x. And then a positive, a negative, negative make a positive 21. So that should be x squared minus 11x plus 21. Okay, so you should be checking these. You need to work these out yourself. So first term, x squared, outside term is 3x, inside is 5x, and then the last is 15. Combining like terms. So there you go. The next one, we're going to do x times x, which is x squared. We're going to do the outside, which is 9x. The inside, which is negative 8x. And then my last term is a negative 8 times a positive 9, which is a negative 72. Combining like terms, this is a positive and that's a negative. And that's probably where your trouble's going to come. So it's x squared plus x minus 71. And then the last one is x squared. We're going to do first term, we're going to do outside, inside, and last. Combining like terms. And this is negative and that's positive, so it should be a positive. Okay, so that is that. Make sure you can understand and do that. Let's go to the, that's page 1. We don't want to go to page 1, that's page 6. We want to go to page 2. So your foldable page, we're going to go through. It's a lot easier to maneuver than what I have going on here. There's my page 2 right here. So I'm going to zoom in. Now this is more of the same. Okay, but they're going to have coefficients in the front. So we'll kind of slow down a little bit and make sure that I need to erase that little mark there. Okay, so this one is a binomial times a binomial again, but this time there's a number here, okay? And it's not gonna, they're just gonna put more little numbers in the front. You should see several more numbers in the front. But it's just the same process. So we're gonna do FOIL first, outside, inside, last. So our first terms are x, 4x times x is 4x squared. Our outside is going to be, those are outside right there, 4x times 4. You should be saying adding a 16x. Our inside is 1x. And then our last is 1 times 4, which is 4. Combining like terms, those are like terms right there. 4x squared plus 17x plus 4. And so there you go. Let's go to this one. So we're going to do our first terms, and that's going to be negative 2x squared, right, because of the negative. And then we're going to do our outside, which is x times 1, which is 1x. We're going to do our inside. Now notice the inside here, it's negative and a negative. Negative and a negative make a positive 18x. And then we're going to do our last, which is negative 9 times 1, which is negative 9. Combining like terms, we have our like terms here. We have negative 2x squared plus 19x minus 9. Okay, just keeping on, keeping on. Now this one has, I don't know why they threw a little y right there. I really think, they did it a couple times, but it doesn't matter. We got this. Okay, so we're going to do 6x. We're going to do first term. 6x times 2x first. So that's 12. 6 times 2 is 12. 12x squared. Okay, then we're going to do our outside. So 6x times negative y is a negative 6xy. And we like to keep our alphabet in order. It's just good math protocol, you know, this is how it works. And that's outside. So I now want to do inside. And this is inside, the two inside things. And that's 6x. And then we're going to do the last ones. Those are the last ones. That gives me a negative 3y. Okay, now looking, we have nothing that's like terms. And it is in standard form because that's a degree of 2, that's a degree of 2, that's a degree of 1, that's a degree of 1. So I would just leave it as is. I wouldn't rearrange it to put it in standard form. Okay, so let's do the next one. I want to try to slow down a little bit. I think I was going kind of fast a while ago. But x times x, that's the first term. X times x is an x squared. Because that's power of 1, and we add them. Then we do the outside terms. These are outside, you know. So that's a negative 8xy. And then our inside is negative 5x. And then our last term is a negative and a negative, which makes a positive. That's 40y. And again, looking at this problem, that's an x squared, that's an xy, that's an x, that's a y. None of them are like terms, so you can't put them together, and they're in descending order. Okay, so moving along, we're going to do these two, and then these two are yours. So x, and of course they're all yours, you need to do them all, but 2x times x is 2x squared. That's first term. Outside is 2x times 2, which is 4x. Inside is just 1 times x, which is x. And then the last is 1 times 2, which is 2. Combining like terms, that's your like terms right there. So 2x squared plus 5x plus 2. All right, I'm gonna let you do this one, and then I'm gonna do this one, or we're gonna do this one together. I'll give you a minute to get started. This one has a Y in it. You can foil this. You can push pause. That's what I was gonna say. You can push pause and foil this yourself. So 3x times 2x is 6x squared. Here, that's the first, and then we're gonna do outside. That's 3x times a negative y, which is a negative 3xy. Then we're gonna do our inside. That's 16x, and then we're gonna do our last. Our last is 8 times negative y, which is negative 8y. And if you look, this has an x squared, that has an xy, that has an x, that has a y. None of those are like terms, so you can't put them together. Okay, I want you to do the last two. And the answers to these are on the back. And check and see if you get them right. Okay, there's one more page I want to go over. And this is page 3 for today. And there's no homework. I just want you to get these 3 pages of notes filled out and understood. Okay, I'm going to do the first 2, and we'll leave the last 2 for you to work and check. So on a binomial times a trinomial, that's what we did on the front of our foldable, is a binomial times a trinomial. You do the x times everything, and the y, the x times everything, and the 1 times everything. That's what you do when you have a binomial times a trinomial. You just do the first number times everything and the second number times everything. So x times x squared is x to the 3rd. X times x is x squared. X times 2 is 2x. Then we're going to do 1 times everything. So 1 times x squared is just x squared. 1 times x is x, and 1 times 2. Now this one, notice when you combine like terms, are kind of not together, so you have to pay attention. The x cubed is the only one of those. Then I have an x squared and another x squared. So the coefficients in front of those is 1, so that's a 2x squared. And then I have a 2x and an x, that's a 3x. And then I just drop a plus 2 there. Okay, so I'm going to do this last one, and then the last 2 are yours. All right, okay, so the next one is x times x squared, which you should be doing. I'll give you a minute. X times x squared is x cubed. I'm going to do x times everything. X times x is x squared. X times a negative 2 is a negative 2x. Then we're going to do negative 8 times everything. Negative 8x squared. Negative 8x. And positive 16, because we're doing the negative 8 times everything. Then combining like terms, we have only one x cubed. We have an x squared here and an x squared here. So that's 1 minus 8, which is negative 7x squared. Then we have a negative 2x and a negative 8x. So that's going to make us have a negative 10x, and then just the plus 16. Okay, I want you to do the last 2. So push pause, do the last 2, and then we're going to change pages and go look at the last page to our foldable. So that's where we're at. If you have any questions, let me know. Show me if you want me to check some things. I'm here for you. Alrighty. Let's look at the homework. If you wanted to get started on the homework, you should be able to do, it looks like 1 through 6. I feel like you should be able to do everything except the last 3. I would probably hold off. Really, I would hold off and just do 1 through 7 or 1 through 9, but you could go ahead and get started. But I would hang on. They just seem like they get a little, this is a trinomial times a trinomial, so we're not really ready for that. But these are definitely doable, and then this one, and then these 8 and 9 kind of get a little more complicated. So I'll go back. PDF file, so you can go back and look. You can, this is in your, you can go, okay. Okay, those are the answers. The answer key is there, so here, and maybe push pause so you can look at them and see if you got the right answer.